Am I the a-hole for naming my adoptive parents as my parents instead of my bio parents in an article about me? This is kind of emotional for me, so please be nice even if I suck here. I'm 26 female, I'm all set to finish my PhD this year. Some of my published work has recently gotten press coverage in certain circles, and an article was even written about it in my hometown newspaper. In an interview, I was asked about my family, and I provided a picture of me with the people I consider my real parents, even though they've never legally been my parents. That's what prompted a controversy. My bio family is extremely religious, and they kicked me out because they thought I was gay. Not true, just a late bloomer. And an apostate. True, when I was 17. My grandparents let me stay for long enough to finish school, but it was rough. I was able to scrape by and cobble together enough scholarships for college out of state. But I had a breakdown early in my freshman year because I was so stressed out. In a big city for the first time, and I had literally nobody. There was a tiny restaurant off campus that was cheap and quiet, but I used to go there sometimes just to get away. And because the immigrant couple who ran it were always nice to me. After the lady asked if I was okay one day, I broke in tears, and they kind of just adopted me. They talked me through my breakdown and had me over for dinner and on holidays, and treated me just like one of their kids. I helped them with some things around the restaurant while I was in school. Their daughters were older than me but were friends, and I'm an auntie to their kids now. These people had no reason to take me in. We're not even the same race. But they did, and I introduced them as my parents now, and they call me their daughter. Once I'm established in my career, I plan to chip in to help them retire. I've kept some contact with my bio family, and the relationship has improved with time as my parents have mellowed out. And several of my younger siblings and other family have left their religion or become much less involved. But I can't forget being abandoned. They've been wanting me to come visit for a while, but I haven't. And when they saw the picture of me with my adoptive parents in an article, they freaked out. Their argument is that they raised me and they already apologized for kicking me out. So this is very hurtful. I think I wouldn't be doing my work without my adoptive parents' intervention, but they aren't my legal parents either. A lot of my bio family and friends are split on the issue. Some say I should have thrown my bio parents a bone since reconciliation is happening slowly.
My 20 female sister, 12 female, stole my credit card and racked up $700 of charges. She has an issue of keeping up with the Joneses. Her friends have a lot of cool stuff and she idolizes those beauty bloggers and YouTubers and wants the things they have. Now, my parents are extremely wealthy but strict. They would reward us with things when we did well in school. She pulled C's this year and asked for an iPhone and was obviously refused. Early this year, in September-October, I noticed a lot of my makeup and shoes were going missing. We have the same size feet and the makeup items were popular cult classics. I put up a camera when I went to work one evening and came back to check. Lo and behold, she was taking stuff from my drawers and sitting down at my vanity to use it. Whatever, she's 12, she wants to use makeup. I de-stashed some items I never used and gave her a fair amount. For her birthday, my other sister and I, my other sister does not live with us, chipped in for a Sephora gift card. We thought maybe then she'd stop taking my stuff. It did stop. It looks like nothing has gone missing and I recorded for about a month and only saw her in my room when she went to fetch the dog. So nothing suspicious. However, lately she has been getting packages from Amazon. She's buying video games and she's using a Netflix account. She stated she's been winning all of these things, and despite questioning her, she refused to really admit where she got all of this stuff from, so I dropped it. Then, about 2 weeks ago, everything in our computer went missing. Looking into the system recovery files, it said that there was a system file reset, something along those lines, at 11:30 a.m. on a Thursday. Mom and I discovered that evening that the computer was wiped clean. I saw my sister on the computer when I left for work. We know she did something, but again, she refused to answer. Then today, I got my MasterCard bill. It was absurdly high. I paid $78 for a yoga pass and then $10 for something from eBay. At first, I thought my card info had been stolen, but the purchases all match up with stuff she has. Origin, Netflix, Amazon, one eBay purchase, all online purchases, $700 worth. I have no idea what the F to do. My parents are, again, super strict. Obviously, I have to tell them, but they are going to lose it on their end. But I'm beginning to think she has a serious effing problem. I have the money to pay down this card, but I don't want to. I want to recoup the losses, but how can I get a refund on something like Netflix? I can't. I've already called to cancel the card. I don't know what steps to take next. Am I the a-hole for not sharing my inheritance? So, a bit of background. I was a big oops. My bio mom was a wealthy woman who apparently never wanted marriage or kids. She met my dad at a work event, same job type, different location, not sharing specifics for anonymity. And they started seeing each other casually for a few months and then boom. Her pill, the condom, and the plan B all failed to stop me from existing. My mother was going to terminate her pregnancy, but my father begged her not to because he was actually married and was told his wife only had like a 1% chance of ever carrying a baby to term. She agreed, only on the stipulation that she can give me up. No visitation, no parenting, nothing but child support, and he and his wife reached an agreement and took me under the ruse she'd raise me as her biological daughter. Needless to say, I never met my bio mom, but it doesn't get any better for me from there. My stepmom actually ended up having a miracle baby about a year after I was born. A boy. My brother has never treated me any different and I love him dearly, but I could always tell I was never my parents' priority. I more or less just kind of existed to be seen, never heard, or never really acknowledged unless it was something for the family. When I turned 13, I got the opportunity to meet my bio grandma, mom's mom. She had no idea I existed and petitioned for visitation. I loved it so much with her that I asked if I could live with her. My dad and stepmom seemed happy to be rid of me and accepted. My bio mom never visited her mom anyway, a rift over her not settling down and having kids. Well, that was 6 years ago. My bio mom just died a month ago and surprisingly left everything she owned to me, with the stipulation that I go to school for business and better myself, according to a letter from her that the lawyer and trustee told me about. This is life-changing money. I'm talking I went from the lowest middle class, grandma left everything to me, but it wasn't a lot, just the house and a couple thousand, to a multi-millionaire. Now, my dad and stepmom are on my case to share the money. I have no idea how they found out as grandma passed last year. Right after I graduated, it was her dream to see me graduate and she had been sick for a few years. And the only person I talked to is my brother, but I never even told him. Apparently, they don't have the money to send him to an Ivy League school as they've always wanted, but money is no longer an object for me. I know they raised me for 13 years, but this money could really change my life. Am I the a-hole if I don't share it?
Am I the a-hole for giving my sister brutal honesty? My sister is morbidly obese, technically speaking. She's 100 pounds overweight. For a while, my folks have been concerned. When they've brought up concerns to me, I've shared my concerns as her doctor. I think out of fear of potentially losing her/her cutting off communication with them, my parents have said nothing to her. For the longest time, I said nothing. I figured it was a no-win situation for me, and just that my siblings' weight didn't seem to be something I needed to throw my hat in the ring on. Right now, she's unemployed, and my parents are footing the bill for her everything. Rent, food, entertainment, everything she does right now is paid for by them. Because they were redoing the floors and because of an asbestos problem that the apartment building management found, she just spent 10 days with me. I work from home, so we were around each other the full 10 days and I got to see how she lives. This girl casually ran up a $90 bill just in snacks alone. Her day's 3 meals, snacks, TV, and YouTube. On her last nights here, I decided to take her out to dinner. Problems arose when she literally tore the pants button off trying to get it to fasten. I don't know if she meant it rhetorically or what, but she asked, "Why is this happening?" I told her that it's because she has a poor diet and lives an unhealthy lifestyle. I warned her that if she kept it up, there were going to be many more clothes malfunctions down the road. I told her I was scared for her future. She believes I'm the a-hole for giving that answer and has labeled it as body shaming. I don't label it as such because I never mentioned her body and I never called her fat. I kept it about her lifestyle and her diet. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband passed out on our lawn? My female 30 and my husband male 32 have a toddler together. Our property has no fence. I was inside. My husband was sitting on the porch watching our son, and our son was playing on the lawn. All of a sudden, I heard my kid wailing and rushed outside. He had fallen and scraped his knee. I saw my husband head over before me, which makes sense because he was closer than I was. But when he squatted down to help, he fainted. The exact timing isn't clear. I don't know if he squatted and then fainted or fainted mid-squat. I just know he was passed out on the grass by the time I got there. My husband is squeamish. He doesn't like gore and blood makes him uncomfortable. I knew this when we dated, and I knew it when we married. He's fainted before. We dated in college and he faints at vomit as well. It usually comes through shortly after. We've been together 10 years, and I've seen him faint maybe 3 times, including this instance. Anyway, he passed out on the grass and my son was still screaming, so I picked him up and carried him inside. When I was dressing his wound, my husband came in a couple minutes later angry that I left him unconscious and unattended in our lawn. We don't live in a dangerous neighborhood. We're friends with our neighbors. He was dressed for the weather because he was sitting on the porch outside anyway. And we live in an area where the climate doesn't fluctuate too much. So I didn't feel there was a risk of hypothermia/heat stroke. It was maybe 70 degrees and clear, which is why we let our son play outside. It only takes a couple minutes to dress my son's wound and kiss it better, so I would have checked on my husband shortly after. But my husband says I should never leave someone unconscious and unattended. I agree with this point generally, but if there's only 2 of us present and our son is hurt, I don't see what the big deal is. He thinks I should have left our son with him while I go inside to get the bandages and dress his wound on the lawn. Or take my son inside, get the bandages, and bring him back out to dress his wound on the lawn. I guess the last idea makes sense, but as a mom with a crying child, I didn't think about it that deeply. Am I the a-hole?
I, 38 male, just recently married my wife, 27 female, and it's causing some issues with my daughters, 15 and 12. They've been convincing their mom that my wife is an awful person and making up stories for months now. Every time I take them back to their moms, they come up with something new. Some of the stories they've come up with include saying that my wife lets them starve, steals their clothes, yells at them and hits them, destroys or hides their stuff. The list goes on and on. None of this ever happened. In fact, they're absolutely rude and awful to my wife to the point where they've made her cry many times. When they're at my house, I can tell my wife avoids them because of the things they say to her. Yet their mom believes every word they say, and she just now told me she wants sole custody. I don't know if I want to fight this and be able to have my daughters and be there for them, or just let it happen so they can stop making stories about my wife and causing us so much stress. I feel like I can either be a good dad or a good husband, but not both. Any advice? Edit. I asked for a divorce because I didn't love their mom anymore. That was 2 years ago. I started dating my new wife a few weeks after the divorce was official. Didn't tell the girls until 6 months later. Update. I feel like I'm having to choose between my daughters and my wife, their stepmom. Thank you for giving me the idea of putting some cameras up. In just one night, I was able to get enough to prove to their mom that my wife has in fact never been abusive to them and that it's actually the other way round. We sat them down and their mom asked them why they've been doing this, and all my 15-year-old had to say was that she hates my wife and also hates me for loving her more than I love them. They both refused to apologize to my wife like their mom asked. I told them I love them and always will, whether I'm married or not, but they can't come to my house until they're ready to apologize. Their mom is trying to find them a therapist, so hopefully that helps. My ex-wife also apologized to my wife, which I feel helped her feel better about the whole situation. I have a daughter, Mandy, 16. She makes good grades but is still doing virtual lessons. I had my brother and nephew, Mac, 18, come over to help with plumbing. Mandy stayed upstairs in her bedroom. After they left, Mandy started looking for her school's laptop. It's gone. We turned the house upside down looking for it. Eventually, we have to tell the school it's missing in action. I asked my brother if he saw it while at our house. The school files a police report just in case. A few days later, the laptop is found in a freaking pawn shop. Mac took it and tried to make quick money on it. I asked my brother about it, and he admitted that Mac has issues. He wouldn't say what, but I can't believe he would steal his cousin's laptop. She has leukemia and rarely leaves the house because of the pandemic. The school is thinking about pressing charges, and I haven't said anything about it. I'm so annoyed at Mac. My mom and brother said I needed to talk to the school because Mac is over 18 now, giving him a criminal record. I don't think Mac deserves my pity for stealing in the first place, but my mom, Mac and Mandy's grandma, says I should give him another chance. She's even been texting Mandy to show some Christian charity on Mac. It made Mandy feel bad and start crying because they blamed her for leaving her laptop downstairs while taking a nap. That annoyed me more to have them guilt my daughter into talking to her school. I'm now 100% less likely to lift a finger to help that boy out. Am I the idiot? So I, 38 male, have a teen son, Drew, with my ex-wife, Jessie. We split up when Drew was a kid. We have a formal custody agreement and split time 50-50. So Jessie remarried a guy named Mark, and he's a cop with 2 kids from a previous marriage. I remarried my current wife, Erin, and we don't have any kids. So there's a bunch of bad blood between Erin and Jessie, which I think is the root of a lot of this. Erin was one of Jessie's bridesmaids when we got married. There was no cheating on my end, we divorced, and a year later me and Erin ran into each other at a mutual friend's party. We invited Mark and Jessie to our wedding in order to try to set a good example for our son. Drew was excited for it, but it came on my ex's weekend, and she didn't respond to the invite or let Drew come, which Drew still blames his mom for. So our whole parenting style is different. I'm not a disciplinarian at all. I like to have fun, be supportive, and be a friendly ear for Drew. Me and my wife don't have a ton of rules at our house. My ex-wife's house is way more structured. Chores, curfews, no phones at dinner, family dinner every night, etc. I don't enforce my ex-wife's rules at our place. I'm still a parent to Drew and make sure he's doing the right stuff, but I prefer to be easygoing. Me and my ex clash constantly about this, so Erin and I bought our son a car, and my ex hated this because her plan was to make our son work for his first car. His parents can't financially give him an allowance, so I do. He doesn't ask for much money and he gets great grades, so I don't want him working and letting his studies slip. They tried punishing him by taking the car away, and my son called me. I called his mom and asked what was up. She said Drew was rude to her husband, so they took the car. I told her that if she didn't give our son the car back, I'd call the cops and report it stolen. The car was returned. They've tried taking away AirPods, his computer, and his Xbox because they were causing issues with his step-siblings. Basically, Drew's step-siblings didn't have any of these things and were throwing a fit at their mom and dad about it. So once again, I called to get his things back. Lastly, we eat out a lot and Drew likes this. He spends a lot on meals with us due to the no phone at family dinner rules. He also doesn't really care for his stepdad and loves Erin, so we don't push him to go to his mom's. Recently, he's been asking us to DoorDash food to Jessie's. If Drew doesn't want to eat with all of them or eat what they're having, they send him to his room. I'll usually just send it to him, which I guess his step-siblings complain about. Jessie called me last week complaining that Drew is spending all his time at my place now, and it's because I'm not parenting and turning him against her. I said that I am parenting, just not following all her dumb rules. Erin thinks we're doing the right thing, making sure Drew gets to have fun and be himself, and not treat him like a prisoner. Am I the idiot?
Am I the a-hole for blackmailing my mother and airing out her finances to the family? For quick backstory, my mother is a textbook narcissist, and her whole family is always tiptoed around her feelings since she had a kid at 15 and had to give it up for adoption, as my grandparents refused to quit their jobs to care for a baby. Her parents have literally bought her houses and gift her $20,000 to $50,000 a year. I, 25 female, and my fiancé, 27 male, just got our first home together. The down payment was $12,000, and my mom offered $3,000 towards it to help us out. I did not ask. She offered, and we would have waited a few more months, no problem. Anyway, this year my grandfather passed and she got well over $80,000 handed to her, so it's not like she needed that $3,000. Long story short, one of our appliances was on the fritz, and I told Mom I didn't have time to talk because I was working on our appliance. Within an hour, my cousin calls me from my nan's house to say Mom and Nan are on the phone, and Nan is saying things like, "Who cares if it's broken? Let her buy a new one. You just bought her a house. You better not give her a dime." Which, 1, it's fixed, it works fine. 2, I didn't ask for a dime. 3, I never said it was broken or had to be replaced. And 4, she did not buy us a house. This absolutely set me off. I sent my cousin our closing documents and it shows gifted amount from blank. I also sent screenshots of my conversations with my mom talking about this cousin was recently visiting. Mom saying things like, she can't have an eating disorder when all she did was eat when she was here. I was basically saying don't believe her because all she does is talk crap. Look at what she has to say about you as soon as you leave, after acting fake AF all week. I found out Mom has been telling her whole side of the family she purchased our home for us and has been sending us money for bills because we are so bad with money. I was pissed by this as well. I suspect this stems from her jealousy as I started working at her old job, surpassed her position, and not only do I make more money than her, they are paying for my BA to promote me further. After some super sleuthing on my end, I found out Mom got $20,000 from Nan the same month we bought our house because she needed help since she bought a house for her daughter, when in reality she spent it all on drugs and fancy dinners with men who don't value her. After I sent all my supporting documents and screenshots to the family with her bragging about a pound of weed getting shipped to her house and everything else she wastes money on, I'm now being berated and being told I'm the source of all the drama, that I should kept my mouth shut. That this is essentially blackmail and I'm trying to destroy our family. I told my mom's twin this has been brewing for years, and her family didn't do my mom any favors by letting her get away with everything since her teen pregnancy. And it's unfair to saddle me with the responsibility now. It's been over a month with little contact from my mother, and her twin still pestering me to apologize and include her in my wedding planning. So, am I the a-hole?
So our current living situation is we live in the same house. I, 26 male, own the house, and my girlfriend of 3 years, Abby, 26 female, lives here. Abby is finishing up her MBA and I work full-time. So Abby has a sister I'm not a huge fan of. Her sister, Carson, was dating this guy for 2 years and we all got close. Then Carson did some messed up stuff to her boyfriend, stuff that I would consider financial abuse on top of cheating. After I talked with the ex and heard of what happened, I decided that Carson wasn't someone I wanted to associate with anymore. I told my girlfriend this and she understood. My girlfriend and her still hang out at our place, but I don't really engage her. Carson tries to talk to me, but I don't really mess with her and will usually leave the room. So Carson is engaged and getting married this year. My girlfriend is the maid of honor and is all excited. So Abby wants to host the engagement party at our house. I'm refusing. I basically told my girlfriend that I don't really care for her sister and I'm not going to support someone I consider the awful person, and that I don't want to have my house taken over for a full weekend to appease her sister. My girlfriend is upset, saying that it's her house too and she can host whenever she wants. I'm saying that it's my house, she doesn't pay any bills, and if she wants to start, then she can host. For the record, I pay for the entire house myself: rent, utilities, insurance, etc. Abby pays for groceries and we split chores. Also, this will be a whole week thing because of the planning and setup, and I don't care about her sister enough to throw our house into disarray for a week, and I'm not going to help set up, pay for, host, and clean up a party for someone I don't like. I told Abby that she should have plenty of money saved from not paying rent for over a year, and should be able to rent a venue. Am I the idiot? My brother and his wife planned a winter wonderland wedding. Everyone was supposed to be dressed in either silver, white, or light blue to fit the theme. All the outfits were supposed to be dramatic. Even my brother's wife said she didn't mind if they didn't even stand out. We were all supposed to look like rock stars. There was even to be a prize for the best dressed guest at the end. A fun game. I wanted to play along. I saw a lot of his other friends were buying expensive gowns and they were looking gorgeous. I haven't been working so much as of late, so there was no way for me to keep up with it. I had dinner with them a few months before the wedding, and my brother suggested that I wear my own wedding gown, white and silver, since I never ended up getting married. She agreed as well because other people were going to be in white anyway. The wedding came and I wore my wedding gown. I got complimented on it all night. I pulled no focus from the bride. It was quite clearly their night, and I won the Best Dressed award. The wife was super nice the entire night, but then I didn't hear from my brother for about a week. When I went over to find out what had happened, apparently his wife was extremely upset at me wearing the wedding gown and that I'd ruined her big day, and the only person who should be in a wedding dress at a wedding is the bride. I agree, but I had former confirmation from both of them, so I didn't think it'd be an issue. She called me a lot of names, and my brother even said the way she's been talking about me, he started to regret marrying her. He's very protective of his siblings. I can kind of see where she's coming from, and I feel like my dress has driven this wedge between them already. The guilt is basically eating me alive. She says I'm an idiot, and I should have known better despite her obvious reluctant confirmation, and my brother says I'm completely fine and did nothing wrong. I'm torn. Am I the idiot?
Refill Day Part 2.